Hey, it's Mary with the Painted Peach. Today we are doing Fall Vibes Woodcraft Edition. The host for this playlist that I'm in today is Rustic and Lace DIY, DIY Craftaholic, and Country Lily DIY Decor. DIY number 1 is a tongue and groove pumpkin. I got this tongue and groove board from my dad's wood pile, and I am going to make a cute little pumpkin out of it. So I'm just cutting it in half on my scroll saw so I can have two different pieces for two projects, and then I'm sanding it up, getting it real nice and smooth. Here I'm cutting a chair leg that I have, or table leg I believe it was, and I'm just cutting it a piece of it off so that I can use it for the pumpkin stem. After cleaning up the board, it was nice and dusty and spiderwebby from being out in his wood pile. I got this paint. This is an indoor-outdoor paint, and I can't recall the name of it, but I will put it in my description. And I'm just going to paint the whole board with this indoor paint. So while we're drying paint, let's talk about the playlist. Today's playlist is in my description, and if you go to the playlist, you can watch all of the creatives in this playlist today, one after the other. That's the fun thing about these playlists. You can just sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and watch all the creativeness as long as you can. Alright, now that we've got our paint on our board, I'm going to get some of this dark wax and put it all over my board. I am going to wipe it back, I'll add more, wipe it back until I get it to my liking. And I just do this because I like the rustic look. Of course, if you don't like the rustic look, you can leave it that bright orange and do whatever shading you like. But this dark wax makes it look good and antiqued up, and I just love using it on bright paints to dull them down. Now that we've got our dark wax on, I'm going to take our pumpkin stem and we're going to chip it up a little bit, put some dents in it, sand off some of that blue paint that was on there. Underneath is white, and that's what I wanted to do. And now we're going to use some Gorilla wood glue to just attach our stem right onto the front of our tongue and groove board. Alright, now that our stem has dried, we're going to get some more supplies here, and we're going to make a cute little bow for our pumpkin. I've got this raffia and this really cute ribbon that looks primitive, and I also have some greenery, and we're going to get started attaching those things to the pumpkin stem area. that we've created our cute little bow, we are going to grab this cutout that I got from a friend, Wild Child Mercantile, over on Facebook. She made these little cutouts of crows and different kind of primitive things, and I'm going to add this little crow onto my bow. We're going to paint it with some black chalk paint from Waverly, and then I'm going to use my little gator sander to go all around the edges and scuff it up and make it look nice and rustic. Then we're going to get our project back. Oh, first we're going to add a little bow with some twine because you got to make it cute, right? And then we're going to get our project back and add our crow straight onto our bow. Once we got our crow on there, I decided I wanted a little bit more darkness on the corners of my pumpkin to make it dirtied up. So I'm just adding some wax from Folk Art onto there. Now I'm grabbing this ribbon that kind of matches the one up top. It's just a little bit bigger of a print. And I am making a swag for my pumpkin. Also grabbing this coffee stained fabric that I have. I just tore a piece and I'm going to tie it or glue it onto this tied ribbon to make it look like it is a part of the swag. Now when I glue this on here, I'm going to kind of ruffle it up to make it look like it is wrinkled up on there a little bit, and that way it will look more primitive. I also have this chalk couture stencil that I'm going to add the word grateful onto the swag. I really enjoyed creating this pumpkin. It was super simple out of this tongue and groove. It makes it look like the pumpkin lines in there. And I just love primitive projects. If you don't like primitive, you can make this your own, of course. But now I am just going up here and getting some of this dark wax on the stem. It was just too clean for me. And we are gluing some little buttons onto our swag. And then we are finished. Here is the finished project from DIY1. I just love how it turned out. I can't wait to display this on my porch for fall. If you enjoy it, let me know in the comments and let me know how you would create yours differently if you would. Alright, it's time for DIY number 2, Trick or Treat Candy Corn. I have these 2 triangles that I cut out on my scroll saw, and I have some Folk Art paints. I'll put the name of those in my description. And we are going to create some candy corns. I do have this. I end up not using it. I end up going a different route, but I showed it to you anyway, right? All right, let's get started. For my first candy corn, I'm going to do the traditional yellow, orange, and white. And I'm just going to go all the way around my candy corn so both sides are painted. And I am going to do the second one a little bit less traditional. We love those candy corns that have the chocolate on the bottom. I'm not sure if it's really chocolate flavored, but it just gives me the impression it is. So we like to eat them. But we're going to make our second candy corn be the chocolate on the bottom. So here I am adding burnt umber as the bottom portion of our candy corn. These little candy corns will be super cute on a tiered tray, on a shelf, on a mantle, anywhere that you would like to sit out a little bit of fall decor, Halloween decor, whichever you go with yours. I'm making mine a little bit rustic so it can be out all fall and not just Halloween themed. All right, we've got them all painted up, and guess what I'm getting out next? You guessed it. We're gonna get out the dark wax. Of course. Anyways, we're gonna add dark wax to these candy corns to make them a little more rustic to my liking. If you don't like rustic, of course you can leave them nice and bright and beautiful. Either way is beautiful to me, but for my decor, I like to rusty them up a little bit, or rustic. Anyways, we're going to get out the sander. We're going to sand those edges to get to an outline on there. I like having an outline on my projects. And then we're going to darken up our middle section to make that orange and yellow and all that dull down just a little bit. All right, I've got these tags that I have in my stash, and I am going to make some little tags for these candy corns. We're using some IOD stamps, the apothecary labels, and we're going to make the words trick and treat on these tags for our candy corns. I think it's super cute, and I like to wrinkle up my tags a little bit and get them a little bit dirty. That way they match the primitive look of these candy corns. I have used these IOD stamps for so many projects. I just love them, and I'm so glad I broke down and purchased them. I usually don't spend money on more expensive craft supplies, but I am really happy that I decided to get those. All right, we're just attaching these little tags with some jute. We're just fiddling with it now, trying to figure out how we want it. I end up adding it and just gluing it on there instead of tying it. And then I make a little tiny bow out of the jute that I have left over to the side over there. And I put one on each of them to make it look like it's tied on. I think it turned out so adorable, and I hope that you do too. If you like this craft, let me know, and let me know how you would create yours in the comments. All right, we're going to move on to DIY number 3, some rustic chippy pumpkins. I cut these pumpkins out on my scroll saw as well, and we are going to paint them up with some chalk paste. This color is papaya, and both of the colors I'm using today are from Chalk Couture. I used to be a Chalk Couture designer. I am not anymore, but I have plenty of products from there that I just need to use. So here we are using up our paste so it doesn't go bad. This color is a very pretty pumpkin-y color, and it is one of my favorites that I have in my stash. All right, now we're going to use saffron from Chalk Couture, and we are going to cover this whole pumpkin with that as well, and leaving the stem. And we're just spraying a little bit of water on there to help spread the paste. Some of my pastes are pretty dry, so the water helps get them on there a little better. Plus, when you use chalk paste, it is thick, and you can really water it down and still be just as good of coverage. If you're interested in either the pumpkins or the candy corns that I created with in this video, you can check my description for a link to purchase your own. All right, we're getting out some wax. I was just kind of playing around right here. You end up not even seeing this, but I'm just showing you that you could just leave them as is and just make your cute little pumpkins like this and get your little outlines and such. But we're not doing that today. We are going to use a method I love to use, and I use chapstick for my chippy method. I like to use chapstick because I can get into exact details of where I want my paint to come off and all of that. But the chapstick is a great method or a great product to use to do chippy. Right now I'm just adding some burnt umber to the stems of my pumpkins. I want them to be brown underneath my paint that I'm going to apply. So that is what I'm doing here, and I'm giving it a good dry. Now we are going to get out our chapstick. I use this Vaseline based chapstick and it works wonderfully. So I'm just adding it in all the areas I want my paint to not stick to. And I'm using plaster from Waverly, and it is a chalk based paint, and we are going over the whole front and sides and stem of the pumpkins. I left the backs of the pumpkins the natural color that I painted them in case I wanted to turn them around and have a little different look later. So I am drying them. You want to make sure it's completely dry, and then we are going to scrape this paint off the top, and we are going to have the cutest little chippy pumpkins in the end. I'm also using my little gator sander to go around the edges and scuff up the front and back a little bit more. I like to go over my chippy with a sander just to get rid of some of those loose pieces that stick on there from doing that. Now we're grabbing out some greenery. We're going to add this to our each pumpkin here. We're just going to use some hot glue and attach that right at the base of the stem on both of our pumpkins. Next, I have a little greenery thing with acorns and pine cones and leaves. I'm going to cut the leaves off of it and use it on my pumpkin for a pumpkin leaf. I know it doesn't exactly look like a pumpkin leaf, but we are just improvising. And then I'm going to get out some twine and some ribbon and make cute little bows for each of the pumpkins. I do want to remind you that this is a playlist collaboration, and you can find the link to that in my description, along with other links to find me in other places. I'd love to do these playlists. I think it's so much fun to watch all the different creations with one specific theme. I did add some cute little buttons to the bows of each of these, and I think they turned out super cute, and I hope that you like them as well. If you like them, let me know in the comments below, and let me know how you would create your pumpkins if you had this little kit. Here are the finished pumpkins, the cute little trick-or-treat candy corns, and here is a picture of all of our projects from today. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope it put you into the fall spirit a little bit. I hope that if you like what you see here, you'll give me a thumbs up, comment, and share, and of course subscribe. I'd like to thank the host of today's collaboration for allowing me to participate. This was the What Would You Make playlist, and you can check that out in my description. Thanks for watching.